the only corporate.
Braves head basketball coach Landon Bussie coming off a huge successful road trip in Florida. FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, 2 tough games, 2 tough wins, and a lot of teams are not going to come out of Florida with 2. You'll be lucky to get 1. If you get 2, you're doing great, and the Braves did just that. So we'll start with Braves head coach Landon Bussie. Coach Bussie, congratulations on the big win. I know jet lag and none of rest for the weary, but your team was able to find a way, and at this time of year, it's all about surviving, and despite whatever injuries, nicks, aches, and pains, got to find a way, and your team did that.
Absolutely. Found a way to come up with 2 big victories, put ourselves back in a great place to compete for the regular season championship. And that's all you can ask for is out of these young men. Is just give yourself an opportunity to, compete for a championship. And, with the 2 big wins on the road against Bethune and FAMU, we're right there.
You talked about the mental toughness you have to be to win on the road. Personally, I was kind of concerned about it. I mean, because the non-conference, we know what happened there. Playing at Jackson State, tough game there. We were able to get it done against A&M. Tough loss to Alabama State. I'm like, will we find our stride? Where would be that tough mental metal that we need as we pile up some wins? And the Florida trip was just that. 2 tough places to win, the Lawson Center and the Wood Gym down in Daytona. And I just thought, Coach, that we showed our championship medal, especially Florida A&M. We had, a 19-point lead. They cut it to 9, had some momentum going, knocking down the threes. We faced the 2 top offensive teams in SWAC play on this last trip, Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M. They're 1 and 2 in terms of offense, and we were able to slow them down just enough and make plays.
Yeah, I think this is the least Bethune scored all year in conference. With those guys they got over there and with the ability to score the ball, one thing that really concerned me was the transition offense. And it was very disappointing to my team in the first half. They had 40 points in the first half. However, 34 out of the 40 was even in transition or off our turnovers. They scored 6 points in half court. So that's just unacceptable. So I got on them pretty good at halftime, and we responded.
You definitely did that, and we'll get into the Bethune-Cookman game. Let's start first, Coach, with Florida A&M as the Braves, a nice win, 76-67. So give us the scout on Florida A&M when you looked at Spear with Parker, Grant, Roderick Coffey, and Lamar. What was the challenge going in the scout dealing with the Rattlers?
Well, with Spears, we really wanted to show him bodies. He's a dynamic guard that can score at all 3 levels, capable of putting the team on his back. So we really wanted to show him bodies and really wanted to limit his shots. So we just try to do a good job of step up on ball screen, showing big hands, and everybody else get in position to rotate. And they had guys who could shoot the ball with Parker and the other wing perimeters, and you had the big fella Grant. So it was just, a collective effort on the defensive end that we really wanted to show FAMU. And I think we did a great job. I think we held them to 67 points. We did a great job, those 2 teams, 67, when they're right there averaging, 70-plus points is pretty good.
You know I've been looking at as far as the stats are concerned, and I know how much you dig into individual stats for fans who follow the SWAC. Is it me, or is it just we're seeing another level of scoring in this league? I mean, I look at Jeremiah Gambrell averaging 16, 17 a game. In years past, that might have been top 3 or 4. But he barely cracking the top 10 in that.
You're seeing Jeremiah Kendall?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jeremiah Kendall, yeah. It seems to me that scoring is a premium. I mean, there's a lot of good scorers in this league. And if you're averaging 17 a game, which has been top shelf most years, you're seeing a lot of scoring where 17 a game barely cracks the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much teams are really focusing on defense. We got J.K. who averaging 16, and, I think it's Byron and Jeremiah. But, I think that a lot of teams is trying to just outscore you. And that's not our philosophy. That's not our memo. We're trying to stop you. I think, that starting 5 that we have been getting out there on the court with, all 5 of those guys can score at a very high level, all 5 of them. But now we spend a lot of time in practice on defense. It's our job to come in the gym, work on your shots. It's our job to come in the gym, to see that ball going in the basket. But my job is to put you in the best situation to compete on the defensive side of the ball and trying to teach these guys how to play defense. A lot of these guys just don't understand the rotation. And I can honestly say, we have got a lot better since Jackson State. This isn't the same basketball team that you saw, January the 6th.
Yeah.
We are so much better, especially with our post-present defense, J.K. and Tank and Jaid. They're doing an unbelievable job of stepping up on ball screens and making it hard for the other teams to really turn the corner.
What did you do to get the light bulb to go off? I mean, you have veterans that have won a championship, a regular season title. They understand your philosophy. They understand what you're about in terms of defensive end. You would seem like an easier sell because you have guys that have been there and done that. You don't have to necessarily teach that because you've got players that have done that. Has it been a harder sell this year in terms of selling the defense of these guys?
Well, I don't say it's harder. When you lose guys who've been with you for multiple years and you don't have to teach them, they already know. When you lose a DJ Bruton, a Keandre Montgomery, a Otis Walker, a Ladarius Marshall, Dontrell McCordis, Davin Carter, all them guys was already in their second year, So then when you're starting right now 3 guys who has no idea the level of effort I want to give them on the defensive end yet. They just don't know just because they haven't been in my program, but they're learning. So, and then when you're bringing off the bench other guys who don't know the effort that I want to give, and then you have a whole new coaching staff, sometimes it takes longer to gel. It takes longer for everybody to be on the same page, and that's where I think it probably happened. And, some adjustments I had to make and look myself in the mirror and try to put these guys in better situations to be successful. Some guys' roles have changed, and your role is dependent on your production. And that has nothing to do with me. When you get on the court, the object of the game is to go out there and make a play. So just with the, us having the turnover that we had over in the coaching staff, the turnover that we had in players, it was kind of, it was only me, I wouldn't say, DK, Byron, Mike, who really, and JK, who really understood, how I want my practices ran, how I want the road trips ran, the expectation that has to be given every day in practice. And a lot of the guys, it took them a whole 15 to 20 games to really to really start to figure out, okay, he ain't budging. We better make a change or you just going to be on the bench. And now you see more guys that's just really buying in.
Does it, for you, as hard as you are, you make no excuses or apologies about it, do you kind of sit back and say, well, I know it pretty much with a new coaching staff and with some new pieces that it takes probably half the year? I mean, with all the tough non-conference games, my assumption as a fan is that you get tough in the non-conference because you're playing such tough competition. The light bulb goes off a little sooner once you get in the conference. But apparently it takes a little bit longer than that based on how hard you really run things.
I mean, my expectations, of course, are always going to be high. But I also have to be patient. I also have to be understanding that, sometimes they might just not understand. But it's their job to just give better effort. Come and sit down, watch more one-on-one film. Ask more questions, be focused more in practice, and just overall, just give more effort. So don't want to make excuses for them. But we're right where we want to be now. So we want to continue to move forward. We don't want to go backwards. And the biggest thing for us right now is trying to find a way to put 2 home games together. We haven't done it all year. We have a big game coming up. So we got to find a way to put 2 home games back to back.
And that starts, of course, on Saturday as they will unveil the championship banner from last season, the regular season banner. You talk about rolling forward, Coach. Your starters against Florida A&M, 4 players in double figures, Byron Joshua, Jeremiah Gambrill, Jalen Hawkins, and Stephen Bayard, all in double figures. I know you're pleased to see that kind of productivity from your starting 5.
Absolutely. More so on the defensive side of the ball. We did a great job on the defensive side of the ball against FAMU and against Bethune outside of transition defense. But, it's us, limiting them to one shots. I think we did a pretty solid job. Us, understanding the personnel and making them guys go through their weakness. I think we did an unbelievable job. But, I think we got a lot of room for improvement. So we got to have a great, next two practices moving into a Southern game.
We're going to see Florida A&M again, and Florida A&M beat Jackson State the other night. What makes this FAMU team so dangerous? We're going to see them again. They'll be right here.
I mean, every team in the SWAC is dangerous. Not one team that's not dangerous. Not one. Every team is dangerous. Every team is dangerous. So when you lace them up, you gotta be ready to play. And we behind the 8 ball. We can't afford to come out flat. We can't afford to miss defensive assignments. We can't afford to not know the scouting report. We can't afford to have any bad practices, shoot arounds, film sessions. We're behind. We're behind. We're behind. And I think that the guys know that. They know that, and I think that they smell us finishing strong, and they want a taste of it. And the guys who haven't been in the situation before, they want to see what it feels like. The guys who have, they want more. So, I just at the practice, they just trying to let them guys know, man. Some of y'all just got to give more. They got to give more. Now, some of them, I'm very happy with the effort they've been giving. But some of them just, they're not giving enough. And they think they are, but they're really not. And I had to call them out. They're just not giving enough. Some of them guys that's playing right now, who's playing a lot of minutes, they got more in the tank. But some of them guys I'm very, very pleased with the effort that they're giving.
One of the things, Coach, during this streak, as we're looking at some of the highlights of the FAMU game, it started with Prairie View. And then, obviously, Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M. We've started fast. We're up 14 against Bethune-Cookman. We started out fast against FAMU, and against Prairie View we started fast. So you talked about the slow starts, but during this 3-game streak, we've had the hot starts to start.
Yeah, we've been having hot starts. I mean, that's just with us, understanding that, like, let's go and get ahead, and let's see what teams could fight back. Like, give you an example, we want to get a hit against Prairie View, and I don't think that they really made an effort to get back in the game. Now, you fast forward to Bethune, we got ahead. They made an effort to get back in the game. We got up 14 points. They responded. Some teams will, some teams won't, and hopefully we do a better job of keeping our foot on the gas.
Braves win that Florida A&M game 76-67. 4 players in double figures did a nice job on the boards, plus 4 players in double figures in that game. Now we fast forward, Coach, to Daytona, a game that was on ESPN2, got a lot of attention. A lot of folks were checking it out. And you referred to the game as a bloodbath as you previewed the matchup. And it really was an intense, one of the better games I've seen in the Southwestern Athletic Conference in a while. We raced out to a lead. Then we went scoreless the last 3 and change. We were up 8. They went on an 8-0 run and tied the game at 40. And it was jab for jab, punch for punch. Then they were up 5 with 3 minutes left, and we shut them out the last 3 minutes. It felt like a SWAC championship game in a great atmosphere.
I mean, it was. I mean, for us, it was. I mean, instead of being 4-3, 3-4, you pretty much dead in the water. You were dead in the water. So I think our defense, we went back to our principles. I think them guys really, our effort that we give every single day in practice and, what we preach on, I think it really clicked the last 3 minutes of the game. It really clicked. DK was unbelievable. JK was unbelievable. Jai was unbelievable. Them guys just really did a great job of just being where they supposed to be the last 3 minutes. I look back at it, I really could not find one error that they made or not one breakdown. I mean, every single time they were where they were supposed to be.
As we're looking at the highlights here, up 15-7 and 18-7, what impressed me, and you talked about it in the scout, holding them to one and done. And I thought, for the most part, we did that, holding them to one shot. Talk about the importance of that with this team.
Yes, I mean, when you have a team who is averaging the most points in conference, you probably better only want to get one shot. because they are deadly in transition. I have not seen a team that good in transition in a long time. And they put pressure on your defense because they're able to give themselves 30 to 40 easy points in transition. And so you don't want to start to give them second chance opportunities. But, we want to do a good job pushing the ball in transition to make them work as well, too. So, but we did a great job of just trying to limit them to one shot.
As we're looking at some of the highlights here, I mean, we're getting what we wanted. We got some threes, and we had an 8-point lead there with 3 and change left. From the defensive side, Coach, and maybe I overstated or overlooking, when you see teams getting transition, dunking left and right, dunks there, does that concern you, especially playing on the road, because that gets the crowd excited? Does that concern you when you're seeing those line drives to the rim?
It all depends. Like, when it was happening at Jackson State, I don't think we responded well. But, as I could say, like, we're not the same team. So when it happened the other night, them guys left it alone. Let's run some offense. Let's get a basket. And as soon as you do that, the crowd goes back down. Now, if you go down there and get a dunk, turn it over again, get another dunk, they ain't gonna sit down. But you go down there, get a dunk, hit a 3 right in one of them guys' face, they'll settle down.
Yeah,
they'll settle down. So just us, when you take a blow, you gotta come back with a blow. You can't just keep taking blows like you're in a boxing match. Just keep getting hit. You got to swing back at some point. You got to throw a haymaker. So we was able to do that. We responded. Every time they made a big play, we responded with a play. Every time they made a big play, we responded. It's very rare that you will see them go get a dunk, and come back down, hit a 3, then get another dunk. We responded in some type of way each time.
As we looking at the highlights of the second half, and it was back and forth. I mean, the amount of lead changes, we would respond, they would respond. I thought we did a good job in the second half, Coach, in keeping them off the three-point line. I mean, they were hitting threes, but then I think I remember only 1 3 in the second half. I thought we did a good job there.
Yeah, we did a great job. We did a great job in the second half. I don't think that we gave it that many. We only gave up 27 points in the second half.
Yeah,
because when they finished with 67, they had 40 at halftime. Yeah, our second half defense was perfect, and I think our first half defense was perfect, other than the transition points that we gave up. And when we're able to lock in defensively like that, we're a really good basketball team.
We're looking at the highlights here. Late in the game, 67-64, then 67-66. Talk about the defense in the last 3 minutes. What was the key as we were able to get possessions in the last 3 minutes?
I think the key was just right here. JK just does a great job of rotating over to making his assignment. DK do a great job blowing up dribble handoffs.
Landon Bussie watching the highlights of it.
Oh yeah, so my bad. Just the defensive assignments on the defensive end, we did not blow late. Every rotation was made. Every assignment, like right here. We told them don't let nobody get behind you. Then you jump the pass. And we gotta be careful right there because he traveled.
But we got the win. You were cool as we were watching the end of you shaking hands, but you let out a pretty loud yell when it was over with. You knew how important this game was.
Yeah, this game was huge. It was huge for us. As far as momentum, we started the streak winning 2 in a row, and we just wanted to continue to build. So by us getting that win, was able to give us 3 wins, and now we know we're coming back home with the 2 top teams in the conference. And we feel as though we're a top team in the conference. And the only way to be the top team in the conference, to be the top team, you got to beat the top team. So, we'll be ready for the challenge Saturday.
You said it as far as Bethune-Cookman is concerned. You knew they were tough, but you felt like your team was tougher.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of tough teams in the conference, but nobody's tougher than us. Nobody's going to give more effort than us. Nobody's going to practice harder than us. And, that's not to downgrade anybody's program. But, as far as toughness, we're right there. We're right there.
And the Braves are the hottest team in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. They won 3 in a row. 2 of the other teams in the league that are hot as well. Southern is 1. And so we look at it, Coach, as we look ahead to this game coming up. You talked about the standings. So Southern and Bama State 5-2, so 3-way tie for the top. What about Grambling, Coach, losing at home to UAPB? That was an eye-opener. But you were saying it's not – are there surprises? Are you surprised in anything that's happened so far through the first 7 games of conference. Anything surprise you when you look at these standings? 3-way tie for the top. Texas Southern 5-3, and then we're one of those teams right there with UAPB Jackson and Bethune-Cookman at 4-3. Are you surprised at anything as far as the way these games are gone?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I'm surprised how much talent everybody got. That's surprising. There's a lot of, Pine Bluff got talent, Bethune got talent. Of course, Texas Southern and Jackson, everybody has talent. I mean, everybody's loaded with players. Now, the most disciplined teams who is most prepared, and teams who execute and don't have distraction, those are the teams that win basketball games.
Well, let's look at this big game coming up. They're going to unveil the banner here on Saturday, banner night, as we look at Southern University. They won 2 in a row. They're 5-2 in conference. And you look at the 2 losses that they've had, Coach. They had a 17-point lead at Grambling, lost by 17. They had a double-digit lead against Bethune-Cookman, lost in overtime. So, hey, Southern could be very well undefeated, but they've got a couple of losses. What do you expect from this lineup? You're looking at the number 1 scorer in the league in Joseph, averaging 24 a game, number 1 in the league in scoring. Joseph to Zeno with Davis, Reynolds. Talk about this Southern team with a first-year head coach in Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, he done an unbelievable job of just getting them guys to compete at a very high level. Of course, Joseph is their head of the snake. He's the guy who scores the ball at a very high level. And he's the guy who can take over the game at any point. So he'll be on the top of the scouting report of how we want to guard and what we want to do to make them see bodies and just make it tough for them. And, of course, they have, Tezano and Davis and Reynolds and, other guys who are really good as well, too. So it's our job to come in here and just, my coaches and I come over for a great game plan to try to make it tough on them and try to win a basketball game.
I know Braves fans were excited watching the game the other night. Just congratulations and a big win. But you are by no means satisfied, and you're telling your team today, and I wish we could share your statements to your team and just how you just can't be complacent. I mean, we're excited. We came off the Florida swing. We won 3 in a row. We're the hottest team in the league. But what does that mean? I mean, to you, to the tone that I got, that doesn't mean a thing. You got to step up Saturday against the Jaguars and the Tigers. You got to go to UAPB, who beat Grambling. I mean, these next 3 games are huge. They all are huge. But we haven't accomplished a thing yet.
No, we haven't accomplished anything. Just put ourselves in a great situation to compete for a title. That's it. A lot of work got to be done. Like I said, we're behind the 8 ball. We can't get complacent. And if I see it, I gotta move you to the side. I gotta move you to the side because some guys know what's at stake. Some guys wanted more, and the guys who wanted more, that was the guys that I have to go with. But if I see any type of complacency, or if I see guys just being nonchalant, you have to step to the side and give me guys who are going to give great effort. But no, we haven't accomplished anything but an opportunity to still stay in the hunt.
Yeah. And when you talk about opportunity, you're talking about guys stepping up. I thought on this Florida swing, guys like Benet, his points were huge against Bethune-Cookman, trying to get Thorne going, Gaines Wyatt, just small things. You talk about big scoring, but small things add up in situations like this, playing on the road in these tough games.
Absolutely. Small things add up, and just the points that Jai was able to give us, the points that Mike was able to give us, and Jolly, we're huge. Every single point matters, every possession, every second. It's not one time on the court to where as though this possession does not matter. So any points that we're able to get or accumulate, it's a plus.
Well, Coach, it's going to be a special night here, banner night. They're going to unveil the regular season banner. How big will Saturday afternoon be in terms of just the pomp and circumstance behind that?
It'd be huge. It'd be huge just to get opportunity to play in front of your home fans. Hopefully we have a good turnout. We'd love to get a good turnout here, so we'll see. But just the opportunity to hang a banner and show the athletes the appreciation of the hard work and dedication they put in day out to put this program back in championship shape. You hope that you can have a great turnout, and then after that, you hope that you can put on a great performance to continue to build the tradition.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to it. Let's go get them.
All right, thank you.
That's Braves head coach Landon Bussie on the Landon Bussie program. Glad you could join us. Big game coming up. The Jaguar Nation will be rolling in here on Saturday. I think there's going to be a fan bus coming, so it should be a lot of fun. We'll take this time out here. When we come back, we'll have the Nate Gilbert program coming your way after this timeout on the Braves Sports Network.